Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Live. We're live. Wow. Good evening. Welcome to our program today. And we certainly, as always, we have important information for you to really dissect and enjoy at the most. So I'm your host, Ed McQueen, of course, co-host Miss April Garner. And she's got a lot to say this evening.
I do? I have a lot to say about our beautiful guests that are waiting backstage. Then they're going to do some talking, but
they're going to do some talking.
Yeah, that's about
we're glad to know that. And very important things that, April, there's always something going on in Conway that the community really, really needs to know. Right? And I think that from the beat that I'm hearing on the street is that we're informing the people as well as we can. We get good feedback, and they're letting us know that they're listening. So I feel good about that. And tonight is just an extension of all of that. We have exciting guests to tell us about what's really going to be going on this week and next week, and hopefully the guest that was touted at in the beginning, Brother Hank Singleton, the third, maybe had a little difficulties coming on, but we'll hopefully have him at maybe the second part of the broadcast. Okay, we don't want to let our audience down, so we think he'll be there. Okay, so let's go with start with some educational stuff.
Education for the youth.
Yeah, for our youth. Okay, and our next guest, she always has something. I mean, that's for our youth, and I don't know what kind of compensation. I don't think she's getting compensated at all. But I think she just want to see the future unfold. Okay, with education of our youth. So without any further ado, let's bring on Miss Janet
Keith Thompson. How are you doing this evening?
I am well. How are you guys?
We're doing fine tonight.
Great,
and brother Edward says you're not being compensated, and but I think your compensation comes in the smiling faces and the success of the students that you work with through your nonprofit organization, the Mamie Keith and Aline Bradley Educational Foundation, also known as Educate Our Youth. And so thank you for being here tonight. And we certainly want to hear more about what you have been doing through Educate Our Youth. And then also want to talk about this fantastic event that you have planned for this weekend, College Day, for the students who are interested in college and want to learn more. So first of all, let's start with just learning a little bit more about who you are and what you do through Educate Our Youth.
Well, thank you. I founded Educate Our Youth in 2018. We received our 501c3 status. And we started out with ACT and SAT workshops and parent meeting, and then came COVID. So when COVID hit, we went to live broadcasting, and we would ask colleges from all over to come on at 6:00 on Tuesdays, and college admission council, and they would talk about the process of entering their institution. Since then, we've just been working with different people doing careers, focusing on certain careers, having people to come on and talk about what they're doing and how they have entered the career, the entrepreneurship. I think last week we had on Roderick Mishu, who talked about the gaming mobile. So, which is very interesting because I had no idea that gaming was that broad, especially in this area. So, and I've also just been trying to reorganize bringing people in to work with the foundation and partnering with folks in the community. I partner with Paramedic Kids. I partner with the Housing Authority. So, which leads me up to what's going to happen this weekend. By partnering with the Housing Authority, we decided that we'd work together and host a college day. And we're going to host this college day at the Housing Authority at 2303 Leonard Avenue. That's the office. We will be in the conference room of that building. We're going to have 5 colleges there that day. So we're going to start around 11 o'clock Saturday morning. It's going to run from 11 until 2 o'clock p.m. So we're asking students from anybody that's listening to me right now, if you have a child in high school, or even if you have a child in middle school, maybe 8th grade, or a child you think that you know is college bound, and you want to come out and speak with the guidance counselors, with the admission counselors, that is fine. I welcome you to come out, bring your students. If you have seniors, and you're planning to bring your senior out Saturday, have your seniors to ask for their transcript Thursday or Friday from their guidance counselor. Bring that transcript with them, because they might be interested in one of the schools that's there, and they could go ahead and apply on the spot with their transcript. So we're going to serve lunch that day, and Best Buy, along with Educate Our Youth, is going to raffle away a Chromebook on Saturday. So it's going to be a little chilly, but put your socks on and your sweaters and your hoodies and come on out and join us. And just get all the information you can about these colleges, because it will help your children to decide, if not these schools, but another school, because they all basically runs about the same. The admission process is pretty much the same as far as the criteria of what a student needs when graduating from high school and to enter a 4-year institution or a 2-year institution. So if you just come on out and hang out with us for about 4 hours, and then before you leave on your way out, grab some lunch and enjoy the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm. So Janet, this is quite an effort, and it's great to know that you have partnerships with the Housing Authority of Conway. And as you said, you're raffling a Chromebook, and so you have that partnership with Best Buy. And,
yes.
So this is something that, really will benefit the community. And I think it's particularly admirable that you are having this event in an area where you probably would, I guess, kind of categorize people who are living there as, kind of marginalized or underrepresented or underserved. And that's been kind of the traditional sense of who lives in that particular area. And the thing about it is that, things have changed over time and people's situations have changed. But what has not changed is that the need for education is it truly is a constant. And so I believe in fishing where the fish are. Yes. And I think it's great that you are taking this type of an event into an area like that, whereas, typically when you see events like this, or you hear about events like this, they have to, cross several bridges and go to the colleges or a convention center or somewhere like that. And, the transportation is not always available. The support is not always available. Here you're having something in the backyards of students who were probably within walking distance and, can actually get a chance to understand what the college experience is all about. And I think more of this needs to happen. We need to visit properties that are a part of the Housing Authority so that, students who would not normally have the opportunity to experience something like this can see it right where they live, And
well, that was the whole idea behind the planning of this. We will meet at Huckabee Heights, and then 3 months later, our plans is to go to the Darden Terrace area, and we're going to hit all 3 properties and invite colleges out. There will be different admission counselors coming on board, and one of the things, I can't give you names, but there's several students came out of Huckabee Heights that went to college and doing very well. And I don't want those students to be forgotten,
right?
Because they're learning and they have opportunities. This is an opportunity for them to get as much knowledge about entering a institution of higher learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the area is full of high school students, and they need to know. And the whole idea was to bring the college to them, because a lot of them cannot afford to go on college tours.
Right.
It can get very costly trying to take your child to different college campuses to tour those schools with gas going up, and lunch, and some distances, is another concern. So we just thought we would bring them to the students.
So speaking of college tours, I know that, on the horizon in the, future is the idea of taking the kids on, a college tour. And I think that's great. Taking them outside of Horry County so they can see some other things and see campuses and, get to walk the grounds is great. But what are some other things that you're planning through Educate Our Youth, particularly for the youth? And I know you're trying to develop some partnerships, but you have some ideas brewing. You mentioned Misuse Mobile Gaming, and he was on your show. What is it, about 2 weeks ago or so? Talking about how he got into the mobile gaming business. And so, what people need to understand about Educate Our Youth is that it is college and career readiness. So you have done a really good job of not only doing the virtual college tours, but you've also introduced career options by bringing on career professionals to talk about what they do, and also showing not just the students but parents, because parents are a part of this decision process, a huge part of this decision process. So tell us about some things that I know you don't want to go into detail, but tell us about some things that you aspire to do through your organization.
Well, we are looking to bring on more career-oriented folks, people, more entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs that graduated from Common High School and now have their own business, and their business is thriving. To talk with the students about the process of owning your own business, and the patience and the hard work that you have to put into owning your own business, because nothing falls out the sky in your lap. You got to work hard at everything. Also, as a matter of fact, this idea came to me today. We'll be reaching out to young women, young ladies, and maybe doing some etiquette classes with them. How to sit, things of that nature. If you're going to wear the eyelashes, that's fine, but they don't need to be 5 inches long, those kind of things. So, but I just would love to sit down with some young ladies with some etiquette classes. So I'm looking forward to doing that in the coming future.
Right. So I think I have your website on the screen, and if you want more information about the things that are happening through Educate Our Youth, the Mamie Keith and Aline Bradley Educational Foundation, you can visit educateouryouth.info and just check it out. There's lots of information. There's also access to any of the live streams that the Educate Our Youth has produced on various topics, even financial literacy and some things you'll probably find on their YouTube channel. And so this is a great way for people to get involved and for parents to find out more about how you can get help for your students. Also, I know that you really do need some support from the community so they can donate through the website. Yeah. So, these things, even just having a website costs money for a nonprofit organization. So it's always good to have some type of financial support, but also you need the support of some volunteers. I think you're looking for board members. Am I correct?
I'm looking for board members, and I'm also looking for tutors, math in particular. So if retired educators or educators that have some time in the afternoon, or educators that have students in the classroom that are exceptional in math, just reach out to me. My number is on the website. But I can give it to you right now, though. It's 843-465-7456. So give me a call.
So we have a comment from Verdell Beckman. She said, we have some of the smartest children in low-income housing that just don't get the chance to go to college. Thank you, classmate, for your effort to educate our youth. And, that's wonderful. You definitely need some cheerleaders in your corner, right?
Yes. Well, that's my classmate and neighbor. We grew up together, so she's going to always look out. She always got a good thing to say about the program.
Well, that's your village. That's awesome. So, again, for more information on youth, college, and career readiness programs, visit www.educateouryouth.info. And Janet, if you could give me that phone number again, I'll put it on the screen for you.
Okay, it's 843-465-7456.
Okay. And so this is your number, and this is how Janet can be reached if you want more information about the program coming up this weekend, as a matter of fact. So let's go back through the times and everything that's happening. It's going to be at the Housing Authority of Conway, which is in Huckabee Heights, this Saturday starting at 11. Is it 11 o'clock?
11 to 2. Okay. And the address is 2303 Leonard Avenue, right off of Granger Road.
All right. Awesome. Well,
so come out, wrap up, be warm. It's supposed to be chilly.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty chilly over the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, you're
going to be out and join us.
Yeah, it's going to be inside. It's
yes, you'll be inside.
Setting there. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be prepared for it. Yeah, that's a question for you, Janet. What kind of help are you seeking? I know you was trying to secure donations, but have you had any other strategies for resources for continuation of your program? Do you have fundraisers?
Haven't had any fundraisers, but we've reached out and had some donations. It's been very positive.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're going to continue to reach out for donations, and would love to have someone also interested in that. Grant writers, give me a call. I can sure use you.
Yeah, because it's quite interesting when we get these student entrepreneurs. They're going to be like the backbone of our communities. Okay, if they can be manifested into what they're inspiring to be.
Right.
Okay. So I'm 100% behind that, and whatever support that you can get from us, we are certainly going to try and help you through that. Okay.
Thank you, and any support that comes from anywhere, we would greatly appreciate it.
Right. Well, you see, when you start talking about young entrepreneurs, I mean that transition into our small businesses, which is the backbone of any community. Okay.
Yes.
Independence, and that we have a little history to help us with that. If you can go back sometime to say what small businesses that we had once, and what we really can do again.
Right. We just stay focused and work together. It can happen.
Yeah. And what you're offering should be one of the prime motivators for that. And I think it's going to turn out well. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Turn out well this Saturday.
Yes, this Saturday from 11 to 2, Huckabee Heights.
And also, I wanted to mention that again, through COVID, Educate Our Youth had some virtual shows or broadcasts on various topics, including financial literacy. You covered a lot of STEM careers and things of that nature. And so, make sure you go to the website, click on the link to the videos, and you can. It's a 30-minute broadcast. So if you sit with your children and watch the broadcast, they can learn a lot about college and careers, and have those discussions, as family discussions. And then if you need more information or any other support, just be in touch with Janet. And again, I'm going to flash the website. It's educateouryouth.info. And thank you so much, Janet, for being here tonight. We really do appreciate you. And good luck with the event on Saturday.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
All right, you
too.
too.
The same, Janet.
All right.
So, Brother Edward, that's something else, isn't it? Anytime you can do anything for the youth.
Yeah, and she's combining both of those things, with education and entrepreneurship, because you can get all the education you want in the world, but if you can't come, you may have to come out and find your own job. If not your own job, you may have an entrepreneurial experience or training or pre-training or whatever. You might endeavor to go into career, for yourself, or job for yourself. Okay. And that's an interesting journey.
It really is. So next up, we have none other than Reverend Cheryl Adamson. I love to hear her say her name, and she will correct you if you say it incorrectly. She is going to be here to talk about something that is really fascinating, and it's definitely needed in a lot of communities because, and I'm going to kind of frame it this way, back in the day, Brother Edward, you couldn't get through a summer without attending somebody's family reunion. Okay. Families were always having family reunions. Thanksgivings were always really big. And that's when you heard the stories from your parents and your grandparents and aunties and uncles about things that, happened in their lives and in their communities. And unfortunately, family reunions aren't really a thing that's happening now, and a lot of families are disconnected, and so those stories are not only not being passed down, they're really literally fading away. And so I think there's an effort we're going to hear about this evening to bring back the storyteller. Yeah. Right, Reverend Adamson?
That's right.
All right.
And y'all know my name, Jerry Adamson. You want me to? No, I won't say that. We used to say that in high school, right? You want my telephone number? No. But whatever guest you all have on the show, I'm always fascinated by the people that you have on the show, and I always got something to say about what they just said. And I am just so appreciative of our sister Janet Keith Thompson, because she has done so much in our community, and she is one of our strongest supporters and collaborators. She mentioned Palmetto Kids, which is our after school and summer camp, and then the Palmetto Youth Leadership Academy. She has come out and done presentations for our children, and they are fascinated by her and the stories that she tells about her college experiences and about what it will take for them to get to college. So I want to just say thank you to her for partnering with us. And she mentioned Mr. Roderick Mishu, who is the newest member of the board of Palmetto Works Community Development Corporation. Prior to his coming on our board, he has served our children in the Palmetto Youth Leadership Academy as our esports advisor. Because believe it or not, gaming is big business. Mm-hmm. And our children have gone through an entrepreneurial workshop with an organization out of New Jersey. And we have an esports room over at the Genesis Complex. And Mr. Mishu is our advisor, because his equipment that he has in his mobile unit is so up to date that it has surpassed what we were given a year ago from Target. So he is the one who's going to keep our children in the know and keep them up to date. One last thing, Benedict College or Benedict University has an esports major for Black people in South Carolina.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's huge.
The first of its kind among HBCUs. So this is something that we don't want our children to miss out on, because this thing is riding a wave that's going to take off.
Yeah, we've been hearing some good things about Benedict.
Their football team was on this year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, invited to Macy's parade.
That's right. Their band.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're doing some really great things there. But for the subject at hand, talking about our families, what we're doing, I'm here tonight in my capacity as the president of the Whittemore Race Past the Historical Society. And as such, we want to bring history to life for people in our community. In addition to the work that we're doing towards restoring the Whittemore Elementary School and its properties, we want everyone to become involved in preserving our history. So what we have done is we've partnered with Coastal Carolina University that developed a course specifically for Whittemore, wherein we were able to tell the story of Whittemore and record through StoryCorps. If any of you listen to National Public Radio, you've heard StoryCorps stories for years, going on to 20 years. And what they initially started out is you could go in, have a 3-minute conversation, ask your loved one a question, and just record that one little story. But it is expanded. Now they have an app that can go on your smartphone or your tablet or your laptop computer, and you can record anybody anywhere. You can record a person that's sitting with you, or you can record a person at a distance, like over the phone. So on Friday, February 10th, from 1:30 to 3 p.m., we want to invite you. The Whittemore Race Path Historical Society wants to invite you to learn how to record interviews and oral histories through StoryCorps. StoryCorps' mission is to preserve and share humanity's stories in order to build connections between people and create a more just and compassionate world. So while we're there, we're going to learn how to download the app, conduct the interviews in person or remotely, and to ask questions of your interviewee. So we want everyone to bring that smartphone, tablet, or computer to the session, because this is hands-on. And in the end, we're going to practice conducting an interview and learn how to upload it to the StoryCorps archive. Now, this is the so critical thing about Whittemore Race Path Historical Society. We're not just Conway. We're not just Horry County. We're not just South Carolina. We are national and international already, because the stories that we have recorded are, I don't know why my camera does this to me. I can't.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Mm-hmm.
Our recordings that we've done so far of a parent, a teacher, and several students that went to Whittemore Elementary School is our stories are archived in the National Library of Congress. So when you interview your grandmother, after you learn how to use this StoryCorps app, that interview with your grandmother is not just going to be available to your family through the app, but also it's going to be available internationally through anybody who goes on the Library of Congress's website.
That's incredible.
Isn't that something?
It is,
So,
yeah.
What we have right now is that we have 6 panels, one about the story of Whittemore Elementary School, and 5 of those categories of people that I told you about. And they're on some large display panels, and we've been taking them around to houses of worship, to churches, and soon be at the mosque. This Islamic Center of Conway is going to host those panels. And on the panels are a written story, but we have a QR code. Hey, we are right in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it on your phone and take the picture, and it'll go directly to the interview.
That is absolutely incredible.
So that is what the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society is doing for the community. The workshop is free. It's going to be conducted by Dr. Carolyn Delian, who is a professor at Coastal. But we are asking you all to support our work, and we'll be asking for a donation. So the location is the Alfred Ballroom of the Athenaeum Hall at Coastal Carolina University. So we have a map, is building number 14 on the map. But you know, when you come in and the first stop sign, stop light in Coastal, and past Wheelwright Auditorium and past the Horseshoe, turn right. And the Athenaeum Center is across from the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Where that thing that looks like the Coliseum type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's right in there. Y'all know where it is. But
somebody just ask somebody when we're there.
Yeah, really. But we do have maps that we can email you.
Yeah, right.
If you get lost, but if you can, please try to get out there about 12:30. There is a parking lot. It's parking lot J, like where you would go in to go to the Singleton building. And when you get there, press the button and tell the person that you're here for the StoryCorps workshop, and they're going to open the gate for you. So, I mean, that is excellent, because I think that's they're on a break. I don't know. That may have been another event that we're having. So events like this to teach our people the importance of our stories. Like the children that we serve primarily live in what used to be known as Cherry Hill Apartments, now EME Apartments. Our work with them has been going on for 10 years. because we don't have any children to lose. We were just talking at our board meeting last night. People talk about at-risk children. All of our children are at risk. My children were at risk. Everybody's child is at risk. Carol Burnett said it, and it really impressed me early on in my parenting. She said that sometimes it's harder for children of means to make it than children of no means. Mm-hmm. And I saw that, I experienced that when we were in medical school, that the children who had a bear chasing them really were higher achievers than the children that came from middle class and upper middle class families. So we don't have any children to lose, and we need to support all of our children. And we can't make assumptions about somebody's socioeconomic background, about the kind of challenges that they have to be able to make it in the world. Mm-hmm. So those judgments need to be out the window. We need to support everybody's child. And hearing stories about their family is something that gives people a sense of somebodyness. My mother is going to be 94 on Thursday. Wow. But this weekend, Chip and I took her to a second cousin who turned 100. Wow. And Chip,
Blessed be.
Said, we may not make it. We came up to Cherryville, North Carolina. We may not make it, but we've touched 100. But the story behind that is that my grandmother's first cousin and everybody in their family had to leave Hartsville, South Carolina in the 40s because of the boll weevil. And that's how the family migrated. And only my grandmother's line of the family got left behind. Why was that? Maybe because there was no wagon for them to get on, no man to drive them. So those are very interesting stories, and we need to start telling the truth about our backgrounds so that people can really appreciate the kind of grit, courage, and stamina that it took for us to still be here. Mm-hmm. So what didn't I cover?
I think you covered everything and eloquently at that. And, I was just looking through the website, the StoryCorps website, and, just thinking about how much fun it would be to just sit and, interview your grandma, your mother, your father, mm-hmm. or whatever. And, Reverend Adamson, that's one of the things that I actually cherish the most about, relics that I have left from my mother's life. I think maybe in the past 5 or actually within the past 10 years, because she's mm-hmm. been gone now 3 years, believe it or not. I don't know. I caught a win one day that said, start recording your mother's voice. And so I have recordings of conversations with her and, stories that she told us over and over and over again when we were growing up. I mean, we heard the story so much. I felt like I knew who, Aunt so-and-so and Uncle so-and-so and, Miss so-and-so. I could actually envision who they were. And I thought I had an idea of who they were and had never seen these people before in my life. But she, she told the stories about her life. And so I was glad that I was able to capture, a lot of those things on, little recordings. And anytime I want to hear her voice, I'll just go back and I'll, play it and listen. But it is it's invaluable. And just like I was saying earlier, the tee up for what you're going to talk about, we have gotten away from having family reunions. It used to be the highlight of the summer. I remember my family on my mother's side, my mother's father's side, used to have a family reunion every single Labor Day weekend down in Georgetown, North Santee. Okay. And so, we don't get together like that anymore now that our elders have now become our ancestors. And so it's
when I came back to Conway 34 years ago, I was overwhelmed by this feeling that the tops of the head of certain families had been cut off because people have not stepped up and taken their role. I mean, you got people around here that don't want to be called grandmother. Come on, give me a break. What is with all these cutesy names? I want my granddaughter to call me grandmother.
Right.
You got to step up and take the role that you're in based on your experiences and your wisdom, and take the lead in your families and tell the story, because that's how people become lost. And maybe that's why so many people take death so hard now, because they don't have any stories to tell about their families. You have to tell the story of how we made it over. So my children were among the most fortunate children I know growing up. We go to 4 family reunions. 4. They know their relatives, and were it not for COVID, they would not have been interrupted, but we're gradually getting back into it. We learned something from our mother one day that was so profound that has implications for all of us about how we are to love. She came home from school one afternoon, and Chip and I, we beat each other to the door to tell her, Mama, Hubert dead. And she burst out crying. And we're like, that was my father's youngest brother. Like, why are you crying? You don't even like him. She said, children, I don't like him, but I love him. We don't like some of our relatives. Everybody's family is the same. There's people we despise being around, but guess what? If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here.
That's right.
And all of that, all of the mess, that's life. That's what goes with it. And so your relatives, God put us together for a reason. And they make you who you are, for better or for worse. And all of this, well, I just ain't gonna be with them. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. We got to stop that.
Priscilla Fuller. Oh, I'm sorry. You still making your point? I was going to put a question up that Miss Priscilla has.
That it's expensive and messy.
Yeah.
That's beside the point.
It is. So, Miss Priscilla Fuller, thank you for watching tonight. As always, how do we get our young people more involved in learning about their family history?
Just what you said. You don't ask them, do you want to hear a story? You tell them a story. Your mama didn't ask you, y'all want to hear a story?
Nope, she just started.
She just started talking. So perhaps a way that you can get them is through the technology. Buy them something, or let them use your camera to video. Let them see the behind the scenes things, and take them to the places, take them to the graveyards, take them to the old homesteads. And of course, what many families do now, some, grandmas, they're so, we're busy. I'm a whole different kind of grandma than my grandmother was, of course. But a way to do is to just pile the children up together and allow them to spend time together. And to get to know their cousins, no matter what you don't like your sister or your brother. They need their cousins. My children are very supportive of their cousins. They're more like siblings. My mother came from a family of 14, my dad from a family of 10. So now the cousins have to take that place, right?
That's right. I was just thinking would be a great, or some great recordings. We have a hard time getting our grandmamas and mamas recipes. So imagine standing there while your mom is cooking something, or your grandmother's cooking one of your favorite dishes. And, Grandma, tell me what you're making, and just listening to the story that's kind of interwoven into that recipe. And, so the point is, there are creative ways, I'm sure, to capture these stories. And hopefully people will take this resource. I'd never heard of StoryCorps, and I wish I'd known about it. How long has it been in existence? Do you know?
I think, I'm not sure, but we've been listening forever. our children grew up on National Public Radio.
Right.
That's the most unbiased reporting that you will find in this country. But I remember one story about our astronaut from Lake City as being one of the
Ron
stories.
McNair.
Yeah, Ron McNair. So I would think at least 20 years that StoryCorps has been in existence. And I wanted to be able to do one so badly. And then they started, you used to have to go somewhere to do them. Now with the technology, then they started sending a truck around the country to record them. Now we have it in our hands. We got it in our hands. I mean, this technology is just amazing. We have it in our hands. So everybody has access. We can't say that we don't have access, but they're the sweetest stories in the world about, Holocaust, about people coming out to their families as LGBTQ plus, about immigrants, about what we're facing right now. The patrollers or the patty rollers or the P-troll, as my grandmama call them, and the terrorism that we experienced all that long time ago, but we're still terrorized by the police, whose origin was in the patrols that sought fugitive slaves. So that is what we know about the police as a people. They were sent and sicked on us. So people have various stories, so that your family's story, though it may be unique, you can relate to other people's family stories.
Right. Well, this is an awesome undertaking. And so the workshop is happening. Give us a little bit more information about that again.
One more time, Friday, February 10th, from 1:30 to 3 p.m. And any person that is a member of the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society, we have over 65 members, can give you information. And it's posted on Whittemore Historical. We'll post it each on our individual Facebook pages. Again, it is free, but we would please like for you to give us a donation. You'll actually be able to see our panels in the Gullah Geechee Community Day from 3 to 3:45 at not in the McCown Auditorium, but in the upstairs part of the museum. We'll have a lecture during that day. And if you have an event, or you have a church or a club, an organization that would like these panels to be displayed in your own setting, we have a young man who is working, I think, with the Whittemore magazine. Mr. Malachi Hickman is
Absolutely,
yeah. Malachi is the person who is carrying our panels around for people in the community to be able to view them and to look at the QR codes and to come around. So the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society needs your support, and we will be offering various opportunities for our community to be educated about itself. I think a part of the reason that we have lost so much of our history is because of several things, but among them is the ignorance of our contribution to the building of this country. One of the most profound things that I heard this year from a person who talks about African American generational wealth building, she said, when we think less of ourselves than we ought, or when we don't value our communities, no matter what state they are in. When I say state, I don't mean geographical state, but what condition they are in. We must remember that we came to America on somebody's books as an asset. It is recorded. They had a dollar sign on my head or on my ancestor's head, and it was written in a book because we were chattel slaves. They counted us just like they, of course, counted the horses and the pigs and the goats. We belonged to somebody. So we had value. to entrepreneurs in this country from day one. We came to America on somebody's books as an asset. So to think less of ourselves than who we are is because we have not been telling ourselves the right stories about our value.
Mm-hmm.
And I go on to say, beyond what that person says, we're still an asset on somebody's books.
Right.
Imagine this. We're assets in the prison industrial complex. We're assets in the courtrooms in America.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? If you've ever gotten a speeding ticket and gone to the courthouse in Conway, who's in the room with you?
Mm.
It's like Black people don't know how to drive because they're the ones that get the tickets. Who are the assets in the where you have to in the bail bonds system? People are making money off of us. They don't call it capitalism for nothing. Capital means per head. And the people that are in the penal system are counted per diem per head. We are making money for people in this country. And 43% of the military in America is composed of minorities. I don't know what the percentage is of African American, but 43% of the people in the military are minorities. We are assets on somebody's books, and we need to regard ourselves properly for the value that we are to this nation and to the world. And if we don't learn to tell it, nobody.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Mm-hmm.
But we sell each other short. We put each other down because we are white supremacists.
That's deep.
We are white supremacists. And just as they told us, if the white man's ice is colder, the white man's sugar is sweeter, and the water is wetter, we believe them and we repeat it. Say what?
No, I was about to say something, but go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I think we may be talking to.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Are you
Hank,
on mute?
Trying to get Hank on the phone. I was on mute, but Cheryl, I'm trying to let her know I wasn't on mute.
Okay. Well, go ahead and work with getting Hank in, and
Okay,
yeah. But I tell you, this is a fascinating conversation, and it certainly is a pleasure to have you here. And again, it's StoryCorps.org. You can visit the site to learn more about it. Whittemore Historical Preservation Society, Whittemore Race Path Historical. They're working on this amazing project. And once again, before you roll out, give everybody the date and time that this is happening and what they need to do to sign up.
Okay, so you can go to whittemorehistorical.org. There should be information there. Keep looking for Facebook. This is on Friday, February 10th. So we got 10 days to get this word out to everyone who would like to participate. That is for Friday, February 10th, 2023 from 1:30 to 3. Bring your smartphones, your tablets, or your laptops and get this hands-on opportunity to learn how to operate this app. It's user friendly, but if you're like me, if somebody can show me something, I'd rather them show me something than me read and get a chance to practice. And that's a good thing. And then you develop a community. And we are inviting everyone who's interested in their family history or in recording their voice so that their children and grandchildren will be able to hear their story.
Just imagine if we had that 40 years ago, Cheryl. What do you think?
I think, that like the Spirit spoke to April and said, begin recording your mother's voice. We can have access to all kinds of things, but if we don't heed the Spirit, we miss out. And so this is the opportunity that we have now. I would love to have had Miss Hickman recorded, or Mr. Brewster Mention recorded, or
Absolutely, yeah,
Mr. Denny recorded, yeah.
Oh, man, that would have been something else.
That would have been something, right?
That would have been something else. I'm
Well,
telling
Yeah.
you know, there's some wonderful individuals who are still with us
That's
that
right.
need to be recorded. Miss Whaley,
Yes.
you know, my Uncle Lonnie, B. Chestnut,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know.
As a matter of fact,
they're on the schedule to do that, though. They're on
Yes.
the schedule to
awesome.
do
That is
yeah.
awesome.
On
Yeah.
That
schedule.
is awesome.
Including Mr. Holmes.
yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's some
So
great
y'all
stuff.
do me a favor. My mother is not on watching this. So her birthday is Thursday, February 2nd. She's a groundhog. She'll be 94. So
Happy
y'all,
birthday! We'll go ahead and say happy birthday. You can show her
well,
this later.
give her a call if you want to get her number. Call me or text me, and I'll give you her phone number. Or if you want to drop a card off to her, or make a donation to either Palmetto Missionary Baptist Church or Palmetto Works or the Whittemore Historical Society, that would make her very proud.
Awesome. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll think of something.
All right. Think of something.
We'll think of something.
Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really do appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Say a prayer for the preacher.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll if you all haven't known, we'll hold our prayers for Miss Bellamy. I'm leaving my mind here now, but she's in the hospital now, Miss Pratt.
Oh, Miss Craig.
Miss Pratt. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just want to send out a quick prayer for her, to.
Well, let's pray right now, if you all don't mind.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, Lord, in the precious name of Jesus, we come before you as humbly as we know how, thanking you right now for being for us. Lord, you have carried Miss Cret through all of these 90 plus years, and she is beloved by so many people, her family, her neighbors, and her friends, and people who've just heard about her and her spunk and what she means to all of us. And so we just want to lift her right now and ask you to be with her in a way that's tangible, that she can feel and she can know that you are with her and that you have not forsaken her. Of course, our prayer is for her healing and for your ultimate and almighty will to be done. Go with her and stand by her and raise her up again so that we can talk to her and hear her story. And we'll give you all the praise, all the glory, and all of the honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Amen. Well, thank you for that, Reverend Adamson. We certainly do appreciate it. And thank you for being with us tonight.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Brother Edward, you want to go to a commercial break?
Yeah, let's do that. Well, I think Hank is on his way, but let's go to commercial break.
All right. All right. Love you all. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, you take care. And so we're going to go to commercial. You guys stay right where you are. I believe I see Brother Hank actually just popped into the studio. So we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and we're going to hear from another very intriguing and dynamic individual from our community in just a moment. So stay right there. Do not move. We'll be right back.
This is Jerome McQueen of Academics, the national movement to encourage our young people to choose STEM as career aspiration.
I had a really great biology teacher. She was like nationally recognized. She got to meet President Obama.
So this year I'm working with 3D printing, actually being able to use my skills from A&T to design things on the computer and actually see them become a physical part.
All right. We're back. So we got our brother Hank with us finally, and we want to really continue on with all this good information that we think the community needs. And brother Hank, you seem ready, man, like you've been there all day waiting or something.
Well, I'd like to think that I've been there all day waiting, but I have not. So I'm here now. And
right. And we're glad to have you, man.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot said about your new book, and it was brought on to us because of such a magnificent moderation you did at the Martin Luther King ceremony we had at Friendship Church a few weeks back, right?
Yes.
And congratulations on that. You did a magnificent job.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm sure most of the audience thought the same thing. Of course, you had a lot of book signings. It went well, I think.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear about that. So tell us a little bit about but we're not going to spend a lot of time. We're going over, our time frame, but we understand the importance of your presence here. So give us a little heads up about your new book that we promoted on our promotion. Yeah,
it is my latest work. It is titled Ever In.
Excuse me. Let me apologize. First, let me let the audience know who you really are and what your. Yeah, I know we know that you're an author, but I sent the information out that you were Conway native. That's correct, right?
I am a Conway native via Edgefield, South Carolina. So
yeah, all right. And your dad was one of our most vocal and resourceful and most important people in Conway in a while.
Yes.
Reverend H.H. Singleton.
Yes.
Some time ago. So, but you matriculated on and you've gone through a lot of academic accomplishments. And if you can just give us a brief history about yourself, including that, and to bring us up, and then we can talk about your book.
Okay. As you so eloquently stated, I am a Conway, South Carolina native.
Right.
My father was a pastor and social activist. He was a NAACP branch president, the Conway branch, for 24 years, from 1980 to 2004. He was a national board member from 1996 to 2005. deeply involved in the life of the community, who saw his ministerial calling as a calling to justice for a people whom he had inherited, that had lived history on the margins of American life and had been the subject of hostile and brutal treatment as a result of systemic racism. And so, having grown up in segregated 1940s Edgefield himself, his understanding of faith in its liberating essence was inextricably linked with struggling for racial justice for Black people. And of course, he instilled that in all of his children, including me. I was the one that was most closely followed in his footsteps as I entered the ministry after I graduated from the University of South Carolina with a bachelor's degree in statistics with a cognate in African American studies, which I am blessed and fortunate to be able to teach and have been teaching for the last 9 years, actually teaching the same courses that had such a tremendous impact on me under the late, great Dean Willie Harrison when I was a student at the University of South Carolina, who was the inaugural dean of the African American Studies program. And so after college, I pursued theological studies to get a greater insight as to the theological aspects of Black oppression and the role that religion played in perpetuating Black suffering, and the role religion played in enhancing the Black condition. But more importantly, for me, it was not just a conversation about religion. It was a conversation about theology. It was a conversation about making a statement about how the Black community understands the gospel in light of its historical condition, combined with its direct encounter with God. So as a result of that, I became enamored with liberation theologies, particularly in America, with the father of Black theology, James Cone, and of course, the mother of womanist theology, who taught me at the Interdenominational Theological Center, where I did my master's degree, Jacqueline Grant. And so those two figures had a tremendous impact on my development as a scholar of religion, and more particularly as a theologian, and taught me to ground my theological career and my calling in the life of the community, which was only a stone's throw away from what my father instilled in me. So I understood it to be a continuum of my rearing. I have since published 4 books, as well as numerous articles, and the book that's on stage tonight is my latest one. It's titled Forever in Thy Path, of course, taken from the third verse of the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by that night led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. And so the title of the book is Forever in Thy Path, the God of Black Liberation. It was important for me to pen this book because I had begun to think that the Black theological cause had been too effectively rendered to the margins of contemporary theological discourse, and that we had begun to get seduced, if you would, by universal Christian language emanating out of the white community that did not place value on the Black community's struggle for freedom and self-determination, for a liberating identity that we've been struggling with since the plantation and is still operative today. I wanted to make the statement that the Black theological cause is just as relevant today as it was in 1968 when James Cone penned Black Theology and Black Power, coming off the assassination of Dr. King and the Black Power civil rights movements, that it was still relevant as it was in Brush Harbor plantation religion, when we snuck down to the plantation to plot insurrection and to release our emotions, having to deal with the hostility of the Slavocracy, that we're still living, even in 2023, in a context where white privilege still continues to exert a tremendous influence over Black lives, where the achievement of Black aspiration is concerned, where we're still the victims of racial discrimination, where we're still the victims of police brutality, where we're still the victims of systematic denunciations of our humanity, of our aesthetic, of our culture, and our intellectual endowments. And so it was important for me to use path in this book as a metaphor of being able to identify the path of liberation that God has provided for us, not only biblically, but of course, historically as well. And it was important for me to make sure that I was not just simply saying that this is a book is on a treatise about God. I was not trying to wax philosophical like European theologians and talk about God's attributes that are divorced from God's active participation in human history and active participation in human history on the cause of those who are oppressed and marginalized, which I understand as a liberation theologian to be the essence of the gospel message. And I just thought the time was right for me to not let the nation and the world forget that it was the God of Black liberation, not the God of white supremacy, but it was the God of Black liberation that was in the holds of ships with Black people that have guided our path and our quest from those holds of ships to where we are today.
Welcome that background and well explained. I since I saw the cover of the book, which was just displayed up there, first question that came out to me was, why the red stone in that succession of stones? I'm sure you must have gotten the same question many years ago, depicting what the book is about.
Yes, the publishers and I thought that it was a representative book cover illustration. And of course, the red represents the blood shed by African Americans, not only literally, but the blood shed by us spiritually, the blood shed by us mentally and emotionally, as we endured the slavocracy, as we endured the hostility of white racism, as we have endured the acrimony and the denunciations of white Americans about our humanity, seeking to perpetuate a hierarchical reality racially, as we have encountered them in our struggles, and as we have encountered God who has been there and who has bled with us, as exemplified symbolically in the cross of Jesus Christ, or as we say more symbolically and metaphorically, at the base of the cross where the blood ends up on the ground. And so we see a direct connection here in this illustration between the blood that we have shed on all levels for our liberation, and of course its equation and link with the blood shed by Jesus Christ for all of humanity from a salvific / liberation standpoint.
Well, starting tomorrow, you know what tomorrow begins? It's Black History Month tomorrow.
Yes,
and
right.
Couldn't have picked a better time to have you on the program to kind of like carry us on into that. Okay, and you know, I'm one that thinks that Black History was yesterday. Today it'll be tomorrow again too.
Yeah, that's why I said, much to my dismay, I like the idea that we get to celebrate a month, but it also is a representative presentation of how the contributions of Black Americans have been so diminished.
Right.
In a larger conversation about American history. And we can hear about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington ad nauseum, 365 days of the year. I'm glad that Carter Woodson pushed for the Black History Month week that he originally got, and Gerald Ford in 1976 expanded it to a month. But what it represents also too, in the midst of that celebration, is a prime example of white control over Black lives, which is what we have been railing against since day one. White control over Black thinking, white control over Black remembrance, white control over Black nostalgic references, in the attempt to try to control Black thinking, eerily reminiscent to what we see today with the governor in Florida, Ron DeSantis, not approving AP African American courses because he calls it indoctrination. It's not indoctrination when we're learning about their history, but it's indoctrination when they're learning about ours. And so in that sense, I'm glad we have a Black History Month. I am dismayed by the fact that far too often as Black people, we allow those strictures to govern the extent to which we acknowledge our history. I've often made the pitch to pastors that we should have a Black History program every month, rather than a Black History program simply in the month of February. And part of that has to do with the fact that we have to get to a point where we're comfortable as Black people pushing the boundaries of where white America has prescribed for us to express our humanity and express our history. Otherwise, we forfeit the content of struggle itself from a structural standpoint.
No, that's great, man. I just the book itself was very telling, as much as I read about it. Okay, and I also elated to see the amount of enthusiasm at the Martin Luther King ceremony which you were moderating, by the people who were lined up to get the signing. Okay, and you do the signing of the books. We need more of that. You know what I mean? Okay, we need more of that. So again, well, we are we're certainly glad you were on. There was a timing mix-up for tonight. Usually we're gone at 8 o'clock, but we're certainly glad you got the opportunity. Unless you want to say more, you got the opportunity to talk about your book as brief as possible. But we're certainly going to try and have you back again, and maybe not just that book. You've got you've got other books, but it's just, man, it's just good to know that we've got an author from Conway.
Thank you. Well, all of the hands of the community are on me. Not just my mother and my father and my siblings, but all of the hands of the community. We are a village. And the community wrote the words of my books just as much as I did. And I am someone who is fortunate in the sense that I have the presence of mind to realize that the village always writes books that affirms the humanity of any oppressed people, in oppressive context, not just that particular author. But certainly, I would love to come back and discuss all of them and the thread that runs through all of them, how they're similar, and then how they are different. For those who are interested in ordering, you can get them from Amazon.com. You can get 3 of the 4, the first 3 on my webpage, harrysingleton.com, by clicking on the book cover. I have yet to put this one up yet, charged to my head and not to my heart on my webpage, but it is available, the latest one, Forever in Thy Path, on Amazon. So I would love to come back and talk about and have a candid talk about the content of all 4, where they are similar and where they are different.
So is it fair, and you don't have to answer this question if you don't, is it fair to ask, do you have any political aspirations that
do I sound like a politician?
Well, that's not fair to ask me.
Well, no politician has political aspirations until you see the press conference with them throwing their hat in the ring. So,
Okay.
I must say that I have been encouraged by people to run for two positions in particular, and so I can say that much. So
you can say that much.
Yes.
I think you'd serve in the political arena quite well. You will.
Thank you.
With the experience you got just from writing books, that's enough right there to give you inauguration speak. I'm gonna go give you inauguration speech right now. I'm putting you right ahead, man.
Yeah, don't have to worry about misquoting myself.
Right. So, but anyway,
I would have to learn political nuances and the structure of bills and process of making it a law, and how to organize my colleagues, whether it be at the state level or the national level. But that would be a learning curve, I think, that I would be able to conquer pretty easily.
Well, my understanding from what I've read, that's about 30 or 40% of the new people who come into Congress. They're on that learning curve.
Exactly.
Right. They don't know anything about introducing bills and all that kind of stuff.
They just know what they want to see made into law.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but there's value to that. So, but anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, man. Hey, again, it's good to see you, and congratulations on this book. And I'm wishing you well. Hope you sell a lot. And for those of you who didn't catch it in the beginning, it says you can visit Harris Singleton. The books are available at Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah, you can get them from Amazon. And I want you to get them, and I want you to read them, particularly the latest one. And so that we can have a substantive discussion about them, because I think that there's a lot of substantive material in them that can help us as a community. Right.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're keeping community as the focal point in that.
I must.
That's important. And that's
James Cone and Jacqueline Grant would kill me if I didn't. So
who?
James Cone and Jacqueline Grant would kill me. If I, liberation theology is a communal theology.
So well, let me ask you a question before you. Hank, you're the professor at University of South Carolina.
Yeah, I teach in African American Studies and Religious Studies departments.
Okay, and you still have affiliation with Benedict? Is it Benedict or?
I do not have an affiliation with Benedict anymore.
Okay, good.
2020. Good. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, University of South Carolina is fortunate.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're very fortunate.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, look, again, we hope to see you. Happy to have you on the show again, and you can, if you can elaborate a little further. Unfortunately, now we're almost out of time. So,
right.
And there won't be next time will be a smooth sailing getting on.
Yes. Right? Yes, I promise you. And let's do that in the near future, where we can have a candid interview about the content of the book.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Edward. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Have a good night.
Sure. Absolutely. You do the same.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.